Welcome to the Elms and to the 2024 annual meeting of the Preservation Society of Newport County. I'd like to announce that we have a quorum, and I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. First of all, I would like to welcome Councilors Jean Marie Napolitano and David Carlin for being with us tonight. And we really appreciate the help that the City of Newport gives to us, and we feel like we try to give back whenever we can, and it's really much appreciated to have the supporters like Councilor Carlin and Councilor Napolitano on our side. So thank you very much for that. I'd like to ask for a motion to waive the reading of the minutes from the 2023 annual meeting. They are here if anyone would like to have them, but I think we could all. So moved. A second? All in favor? Oh, funny how that passes every year. Also, we do have a minutes book that is put together of all of our past meetings for the year for the board, and anyone is welcome to view those at any time. You just need to go to 424 and see Trudy or Jim, and you will have access to that. It's a long list, so bear with me if I have to keep finding out where I'm at here. Let's see. Okay. I'd like a motion from the floor to ratify the actions and the proceedings of the Board of Trustees during the past year. Could I have that motion, please? And a second? Second. All in favor? Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce Dave Cowan from the City Council, who's going to make a few brief remarks for us. David?
All right, well, welcome. Thank you all. Thank you, Bill, very much. Trudy, members of the Board of Directors, supporters, and others. I very much appreciate being here tonight on the behalf of the City of Newport and the City Council of Newport. I thoroughly enjoy what I do, and most of the properties, in fact, all of the properties of the Preservation Society are in the 3rd Ward, which I represent. And it is a tremendous honor for me to be on the City Council, particularly representing the 3rd Ward. It's not always all fun and games, though. If you bear with me, I'll give you a quick example. A few weeks ago, you may know this already, my colleague, and I don't see Jean tonight, but I know that she's a tremendous supporter. I don't see my other colleagues, so I don't think Charlie will mind. A few weeks ago, Charlie Holder, my colleague on the council, took on a new job. He was offered a new position to run one of the new hotels here in the city. So my wife Trish said, send him something nice to congratulate him. And I said, well, we don't do that. That's not something a fellow would do. She said, well, send him something. I said, okay, all right. I'll send him one of those baskets, those edible arrangements with the chocolate strawberries and the chocolate pears and such. Okay, all right, fine. So I called my fellow up. I said, hey, listen, I need you to send this to Charlie Holder down at his new hotel, which he is now the general manager of. Okay, Dave, we'll take care of it. So Charlie got it. He called me back a couple of days later. He said, well, thank you for that. I said, oh, it was all Trish's idea. Don't worry about it. He said, but what's with the card? I said, Charlie, what do you mean, what's with the card? He said, well, I got the card. It said, rest in peace. I said, oh, geez. I'll figure it out, Charlie. I called the guy up. I said, what's the matter? What's going on here? This guy's my colleague, my friend. He said, I know, Dave. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I meant to call you. I said, well, yeah, you should have, yeah. He said, it's a little worse than what you think. A little worse? He said, yeah, last night down at Charlie Hayes' funeral home, there was a lovely card sent, and it said, good luck in your new location. From Dave Carlin. So, all kidding aside, let me repeat what I said. Thank you so very much, not only for the honor of being here tonight Bill, Trudy, members of the board, supporters, but for the honor of being the city council person in the 3rd Ward and a city council person indeed for the entire city. And let me tell you 3 quick things. Number 1, there is no organization in the state of Rhode Island, none. And I would put the organization, the Preservation Society, up against any in the country for that matter, who has more regard for, more passion for, and is more committed to historic preservation than you all, than the Newport Preservation Society. The second thing I want to note, and I will say this every day to constituents and others as long as I am elected in public office, the Preservation Society gives back. You give back in the community. Just the other day, we saw the announcement of free admission for folks in the hospitality industry. Students in our Newport Public Schools are given great benefits from the Preservation Society. Countless 3rd Warders and Newporters are employed by the Preservation Society. And of course, your properties. People think, well, they take care of themselves. The properties are, have been or were built by generations ago. Right, generations ago. That upkeep doesn't come on its own. It comes as a result of you. It comes as a result of your efforts, and I will never back down from supporting what you all do and spreading the word to my colleagues, to state officials, state legislators, the governor, and anyone who will listen about the great successes that you have had in the last 25 years, largely because of you all, the wonderful boards, and your fantastic executive director, Trudy Cox. And the third thing in closing that I will congratulate you on and say that I support you on 100%, you stuck your neck out on the line, so to speak, and you made a very difficult decision to oppose what I and many of my constituents in the 3rd Ward consider these hideous wind farms that are going up. And I would like to encourage you to continue that fight, and anything I can do to support you and such, I will. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, Trudy, members of the board. It's my honor.
Thank you, David, very much. You've been a great ally of ours, and I just want to mention that the city, we had to go up into the State House recently and fight some legislation, and David represented us very well at that meeting, and I want to thank him very much for taking time out of his busy life to march all the way up there and speak on our behalf, so thank you. All right, onward. Oh, rats, it comes to my remarks. Darn it. All right, so let's see, what do we got? I think I have them in here somewhere. Oop, all right. It says I have to thank Dave Carlin. All right, get that one done. All right, it's inspiring to see so many friends here tonight, and you're the foundation that the Preservation Society is built on. And your support is the lifeblood to this organization. I want to thank you all for that investment. And I'd like to take a moment to remember my predecessor as chairman, Monty Burnham, whose influence and leadership continues to resonate throughout the Preservation Society. She lives on in my memories. I can almost imagine her here tonight at the Elms with us, smartly dressed, with an encouraging smile and a keen look in her eyes. And all of you that know Monty know that that's exactly what she'd be looking like and doing. So the time that we spend together here in these beautiful properties is unique and glorious. It creates lasting friendships like the ones I've had with Monty and lasting memories. And it's one of the reasons why these beautiful homes were built. And I just want to thank all of our trustees, and I want to thank Trudy Cox. There's a lot of thank yous with this position, by the way, so you're going to hear that a lot tonight. I want to thank Trudy. I want to thank all of our amazing trustees. Because of your dedication, we continue to build our reputation as one of the finest cultural heritage organizations in the world, something that I never would have thought was possible 10 or 15 years ago. The work we do is difficult, it is expensive, it requires a lot of expertise, and that requires a lot of money. And because you trust us to put your support dollars to good use, we've created a clear plan to guide us. Again, another thank you. I would love to thank the chair of my strategic planning committee, Janet Robinson. Her leadership and vision were a guide for the staff and all of us as trustees, and she was really the linchpin for the creation of the strategic framework that we're executing today. In June 2022, the Board of Trustees adopted our strategic plan that outlines a program of work that will run through 2028. For those of you familiar with strategic plans, you probably knows what happens to most of them. They end up on some shelf somewhere gathering dust. That is not the case here at the Preservation Society. We have been feverishly implementing our strategic plan since day one. If you drive down Bellevue Avenue, you'll see restoration work being done on a grand scale. You'll notice the work being done on the Isaac Bell House. Many of us passed it on the way here. Our craftsmen are literally bending wooden shingles by hand using steam to soften the wood in order to bend them into the right shape to fit around the turrets. Not a cheap endeavor. And how about last year's $7 million restoration at Rosecliff? On a sunny day, it's absolutely glowing. And if you haven't visited recently, please do. Rosecliff looks better than it has in decades. Some other projects include rebuilding the chimneys of the breakers and the installation of geothermal climate control systems at Chateau Sommer. This is the fourth geothermal project in our buildings in the past 10 years and an important part of our plan to reduce our carbon footprint. We're pretty proud of that work. We are also focused on giving our visitors an unforgettable experience by telling diverse stories in new ways. This July, more than 25 life-size elephant structures are coming to the lawn at the Breakers. They're part of a worldwide traveling exhibition to highlight native habitats and the need for conservation. Newport is the first stop in North America for this exhibit, and we are a big part of that show. It's going to be terrific to see those life-size elephants out on the front lawns of our mansion. So I hope you all get your grandkids, well, never mind the grandkids. I hope you all go and show up, see the see all the elephants. It'll be terrific, I'm sure. All of these projects, also later this month, we're also opening the third floor of the Breakers for the first time in 130 years. So that ought to be exciting as well. That should open up a whole new experience for all of us. So really, really proud of that, and really looking forward to what the staff comes up with that one too. So all of these projects and initiatives, they cost a lot of money. And that's why we recently launched a $36.5 million capital campaign. Every dollar we raise will be put to good use. Your commitment makes what the Preservation Society does possible. It helps us to fulfill our mission of protecting, preserving, and presenting some of the finest examples of architecture, artifacts, and horticultural design in the world. Thank you for joining us in this strategic journey towards 2028. We are honored to call you our members, our partners in preservation, and our friends. Thank you very much. And now it's my pleasure to call our treasurer, Peter Harris.
Evening, everybody. Everybody hear me okay? Great. I didn't want to stumble the stage for obvious reasons. I did that okay. So anyway, this year I thought I'd do something a little different. I know you're all waiting with anticipation for the numbers. I thought I'd do a PowerPoint presentation, bubble gum for the eyes, and keep it light, because the good news is we had a very good year, and it's very easy to come up here and give good news. So I'm absolutely delighted. So I think I'm looking at the year in review. We are looking backwards. For fiscal year '24, it's a little bit of a misnomer in a way for you all. We started April 1 of 2023, and we ended March 31st of 2024. Now, I'm going to give you some highlights because I think they're extraordinary. We had a record-setting year. The total revenue for the year was over $30 million. It was 10.5% over budget. Our admissions revenue, the people who walk in, we had revenue of $14.2 million. Again, that was about 8% over our budget. All our houses were open for the first time since the pandemic. Store sales, which have been a little bit of a challenge, also set a record, $4.1 million. And the good news, as our chairman talked about, we kept our operating expenses under control and were able to spend $9.2 million on our houses. And to give you some idea, pre-pandemic, we were spending about $500,000 a year on our buildings. Just after the COVID went away, we were spending between $2 and $3 million. So we're really stepping up and helping these houses with the maintenance. So we're doing well. So what are we going to do this year? This year we're going to continue to invest in our properties. We've bought a new building in Quonset, and we're going to put our new collections care facility in this building. It's 17,500 square feet. For those of you who have some notion of how many objects we have, 60,000. And they're going to be stored there or presented in our 11 houses. We're also exploring new ways how to tell our stories. And I asked our marketing director, what does that really mean? And he said something to me that actually made sense. He says we're trying to reinvent the visitor experience when you go to our houses. Now, quite frankly, that really resonated with me because I go to the breakers and I put the headphones on and listen to Don Ross talk about the billiard room. And I don't know, it just didn't do it for me. I had to poke fun at Don. Anyway, we're going to look at virtual reality, and we're going to spend some money on that, and I think it's very exciting. Then, obviously, we're going to continue our capital campaign, and so stand by. And as my minister in Florida says, the church always likes a cheerful giver. In terms of the budget for fiscal year 25, we're targeting another increase to about $33 million. You say, how are we going to get there? Good question. We've got these new exhibits. We've got the elephants coming. We've got the breakers. We've got HBO coming. We've got a lot of things going on. We've got 18% in our cruise ships in the harbor. You like those, you don't. They're good for us. And all the houses are open again. And I'm sure Trudy will mention HBO. So let's take a breather from the numbers. And our outgoing CFO, Jim Burris, has a favorite quote, which I really like. He says, keeping $1 billion of century-old houses in excellent shape is not inexpensive. So why do we do it? It's a great question, and it deserves its own slide. I'll read this to you because I think it's important. How's that? Our houses carry exceptional historical and cultural value. They provide indelible insights into architectural styles, art collections, and lifestyles of the past. They also contribute to the unique character of Newport, just as Mr. Carlin said. If you don't believe it, just ask any visitor who comes to Newport, and the only thing, in most cases, they remember are the Newport mansions. So in closing, our job as trustees is to see that the PS mission is fully executed. For those who've been around, you know it's the 3 Ps: preserve, protect, present. We can't do it without your help. As also Mr. Carlin said, we have become the economic engine for Newport. We thank you for all your support. And I would be very remiss before I sat down and did not recognize a gentleman who is going to retire after 30 years as a CFO, Mr. Jim Burris. And Jim absolutely hates this, but where is Jim? Please stand up. Jim, where are you? Jim, you got to stand up. Okay, okay. Jim, for a nonprofit, is a world-class CFO, not only from financial acumen, but also from his operational know-how of everything he does here. He'll be sorely missed. We've got a very good search firm looking for him, and I hope we come close to fill his shoes. So again, thank you for all your support. I'd like to introduce now, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce another world-class CEO, Trudy Cox.
Thank you so much, Peter. Great job, and thank you, Councilman Carlin. Your remarks really mean a lot to all of us. I think everybody would agree. So when I was getting ready for tonight, I looked back on the speech that I gave last year, and surprisingly, it was a very simple message. And the message was, we want to be the best historic house museum in America, right? That's what we want. That's what we're aiming for. And if you look at the last year, I think you've heard the momentum has been fantastic. And I defy anybody in this room to identify an organization anywhere in this country that, just think about this, in the next month, we will have, thanks to Pat Fernandez, the chairman of our flower show, the best floral designers in the country gathered here showing off their exhibitions. We will be opening up the breakers, as you've heard, for the first time in 130 years. We will be hosting a beech tree forum, ways to protect our beech trees into the future. We will be welcoming the 30 elephants to the oceanfront yard of the breakers, and Janae Benton, Peggy Scott in the TV show Gilded Age, will be here along with the person who wrote the historical part of with Julian Fellows with that show. Now that's just in the next 30 days. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. This is a lot of heavy lifting. And I hope as members, you appreciate the number of really rapid fire, fantastic, exciting opportunities that we provide to you, and we do it throughout the year. The momentum really comes from all of you. I want to thank Bill Lucy, the chairman, all of our trustees. Every single one of our trustees works very hard in helping us. I want to thank our staff. Our senior management team is here. There are other members of the staff here. And I also want to acknowledge our volunteers. We have more than 350 volunteers who do all sorts of things for this organization. So I think they deserve a round of applause. Would you all stand? Members of the board, come on. Volunteers, show yourselves off. Bravo. Thank you so much. So the momentum really comes from you, and we have two things underway, which Peter alluded to. Two initiatives that need momentum, have required a lot of brain power. The creation of a collection storage facility. Collections care. Whenever I talk about collections care with people, I see their eyes glaze over. I'm sorry about this, but this is important. The good thing about museums is that museums save things. The bad thing about museums is that museums save things. And behind the scenes of every one of our houses, there are thousands of objects. They are stuffed into drawers, closets, in the attic, in the basement. These are important papers, they're letters, they are textiles, they are beautiful paintings, they are odd objects like the antique mousetrap and the chamber pot in the shape of a dog. You name it, we have it in our collection, and because we are the stewards of the past, we want to hold on to these things. They help us understand our history. Now, when we were trying to get people to appreciate and understand the need for a welcome center at the Breakers, Bill Wilson, then a member of our board, came up with the mantra of the 3 T's. We need the welcome center for the 3 T's. Tea, tickets, and toilets. Do you remember that? And that's what we sold. Tea, tickets, and toilets, the 3 T's. Well, now we have a new mantra. Why do we need a collections care facility? Because of the 3 M's. I know you're going to find this corny, but you won't forget it. We need a welcome center for the 3 M's, which are mildew, mold, and moths. And anyone who has ever had a favorite sweater reached in at the beginning of the winter to pull it out and find that your favorite sweater has been eaten up by a moth knows what I am talking about. The professionals on our staff are in a constant battle against the 3 M's, mildew, moths, and mold. So that's what this job is all about. That's why signing the lease for a 17,500 square foot building in the Quonset Development Corporation Park in North Kingstown is really important for us, because it will give us a chance to get organized. It will give us a chance to guarantee that our collections are protected in a state-of-the-art, high-quality, climate-controlled building. And it will also guarantee that for any of you who may be thinking about leaving your very important collection to the Preservation Society, be aware that we are going to take very good care of it, and that is important. Now, on to, and it gets us a little bit closer to being one of the best historic house museums in America. So, example number 2, a reimagining the Elms, which Peter mentioned a bit. We've got wonderful stories to tell, great things to see, lots to learn from our houses. However, the way that people learn is changing. People rely far more on technology than they did in the past. This is very hard for people my age to appreciate and understand, but for the younger people in the audience, you know what I'm talking about. So we have to think progressively. We have to think ahead. We have to try to imagine a different way of telling our stories. So think coffee before Starbucks, or hotels before Airbnbs, or encyclopedias before Google, or phone booths before smartphones, or taxis before Ubers. That's where we are right now, trying to find imaginative, creative ways to use technology to tell our stories better. We've signed a contract with a company called Digital Kitchen. Can you imagine working with Imagineers and creatives every day? It is a new world. And the thing that is so exciting about this project is that if we find a way to do this, that is, use technology in a historic house setting without mucking up that setting, we will really be setting a trend for the country. Very excited about that. I think we can do it. I think there is an opportunity for immersive learning. I think it can be done right here. So this is a new imaginative way to go. I want to finish by reflecting on a trip that the Preservation Society led to Cuba in February. Some of you were on that trip, and it really was incredible. Havana is a 500-year-old city, elegant buildings like the Elms, beautiful historic buildings. But because of the economic and political challenges facing that country, you know all about them, the city is literally crumbling in front of your eyes, crumbling. And in fact, we learned in Havana that 3 buildings a day collapse on their own. So that's 1,100 buildings a year, 5,500 buildings every 5 years. It's mind-boggling. You walk away from an experience like that with one impression, and that is that it is very easy to lose your historic and cultural background. It's very, very easy, and it can happen almost overnight. And once you do, it's not just the building you lose the memories and the stories and the family connections and the artistic details gone. And they are gone forever, and they cannot be brought back. So our job is to be vigilant. Our job is to protect these buildings like nobody's business. That is what we do. And as Bill and Peter have said, it is expensive, but it is so worthwhile. So for that reason, I am so grateful for all of you being here with us tonight And for those 35,000 people out there who are members of the Preservation Society, the only way that we are going to be the best historic house museum in America is with your momentum. And the only way that we're going to fight those 3 M's is with your help. And the only way that we are going to reimagine the way that stories can be told in historic houses is with you. So thank you all very, very much for your support. Now we're going to show a very quick video that our marketing department put together that tells the year in review in about 4 minutes, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you all. In 2022, our Board of Trustees adopted a strategic plan. I know strategic plans can be boring. Ours is not. We started to get to work on our strategic plan the day it was adopted, and since that time, we have accomplished enormous amounts of action that were contained in that plan, and tonight you're going to hear more about that.
2023 has truly been a year of momentum and progress, especially towards obtaining the goals that were set forth in our strategic plan. The upgrades that we've made to our bylaws will go a long way to helping management become a more effective, diverse, and modern organization.
This is an organization with a lot of momentum, and one of the reasons we've got that momentum is because we have a phenomenal Board of Trustees led so ably by Bill Lucy. We're also blessed because our staff is very strong, very committed. This organization is blessed with a lot of talented people who put in a lot of hours because they care a lot about preservation here in Newport. One of the things that came out of the strategic plan was the board's view that we had to tell bigger and bolder and more inclusive and exciting stories. So we have had 2 phenomenal exhibitions in the last year, one about the influence that Chinese Americans had here in Newport in the 1880s, and then a second exhibit, Gilded Age Newport in Color, which tells the story of African Americans at the turn of the century, how prosperous they were, how important their role was in this community, how this community grew because of their influence. We are very excited about opening up to the public the 3rd floor of the Breakers. First time ever. This is a brand new tour. New stories about the Vanderbilt family, new stories about the building itself, how it was put together by Richard Morris Hunt. And so we're very excited that people will get a chance to see a part of that house that they have never had a chance to see before. One of the aspects of the strategic plan was to try to figure out a way to make our houses more exciting. And we have partnered with a company called Digital Kitchen. They are a technology company, immersive technology, and we are trying to figure out new ways to tell stories of history here in the houses. And if we are successful, I think we'll be one of the first museums in the country to try a new way. So we're very excited about that.
Our use of technology goes far beyond entertainment. We are actively looking to reduce our carbon footprint by installing geothermal systems in all of our houses. We've already finished with 3, and we're in the process now of working on Chateau Sommer.
We are creating a 17,500 square foot state-of-the-art collections care facility. This, I think, is a commitment on the part of the organization to ensuring that the important objects in our collection will be around for hundreds of years to come.
If you haven't done it already, take a ride down Bellevue Avenue and see the work that's being done on the Isaac Bell House, or the beautiful work that was done to restore Rosecliff, or the chimney work that's going on right now at the Breakers. All of this work is very interesting and it's beautiful, but it never ends.
You know, one of the things that I think is unique about the Preservation Society is that we have a lot of visitors who come to Newport, and they help pay some of the bill. But to take care of these houses is extraordinarily expensive, and that's why we are so grateful to everybody who is watching this video, to all the people who are here at the annual meeting tonight, and we have to ask for help.
As part of our strategic plan, we've adopted a capital campaign for $36.5 million. The These mansions are incredibly important to this community and to this country, and it takes an awful lot of money to make them as beautiful as they are. And this money will go a long way to solidifying the position that the Preservation Society can take in maintaining these beautiful homes.
I want to thank everyone who has helped the Preservation Society. We are in our 79th year, and this organization has survived because of all of you. People who buy tickets, people who give money, people who are members of the Preservation Society, all of our partners in preservation. The list goes on. There are so many different ways that people have helped us over the years, and we are very grateful and very appreciative of your support.
I was a little nervous to see that. I haven't seen that yet. Well done. Thank you. It's hard to hide that Boston accent. All right, let's see. Next, I'd like to introduce, let's see, I got to make sure I'm in the right place. The video concludes. Okay. Okay, next I'd like to introduce Janet, who will come up and present the report of the Governance Committee. Janet Robinson, could you please? Janet was the chairman of our Governance Committee and was also the chairman of my Strategic Planning Committee. She's a secretary. You can get the gist of this here. I recognize talent when I see it. So Janet's been terrific. Janet, please take us through the.
Thank you. Good evening. To begin my governance report, I would like to thank a trustee who is stepping down from the board due to term limits as outlined in the organizational bylaws. Those trustees that are stepping down are Beverly Little and Janet Robinson. Beverly, would you please stand? Beverly, on behalf of the Preservation Society, we thank you for your 6 years of service on the Board of Trustees, your tireless work helping to orchestrate the triannual coaching weekend has been greatly appreciated by all. You and your family have been involved in coaching in Newport for many decades, and we hope that you will continue to assist the Preservation Society in the years ahead with this very special weekend that we all love. Thank you very much, Beverly. You've been an outstanding trustee. Working closely with the Governance Committee, the Board of Trustees would like to present the slate of new trustees who will now stand for election to the board by the membership. Will the following candidates please stand when your name is called? Eric Hertfelder, Beverly Ledbetter, Jack Murphy, and Don Steiner. Trustee candidates, you may now be seated. There are 4 current trustees completing their initial 3-year term of service and are eligible to stand for a second 3-year term in accordance with the organizational bylaws. Will the 4 trustees please stand when your name is called? Kim Darden, Ann Ford, Sherry Grace, and Stephen Hutler. Trustees, you may be seated. Mr. Chairman, I have presented the slate of new and current trustees now standing for election and re-election by the membership.
Thank you, Janet. Could I ask for a motion that the nominations be closed? A second? All in favor? Thank you. With the nominations closed, we will now have a vote. All in favor of the slate of nominees signify by saying yay. Those opposed, nay. Thank you. The chairman announces that the, well, I'm sorry, that's not what I'm supposed to say. The yeas have it, I'm sorry. Welcome to the new trustees, a great class of trustees.
I would now like to announce the slate of board officer candidates as prepared by the Executive Committee and the Board of Trustees. The board officers will be elected by the Board of Trustees at their organizational meeting immediately following this annual meeting. I would ask that the officer candidates please stand to be recognized when I call your name. Chairman William Lucy, Vice Chairman Peter Harris, Vice Chairman Patrick Cairns, Treasurer David Bazarski, Secretary Evelina Tabor. Officer candidates, you may now be seated. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Jan. So we will officially meet, the board will meet immediately following this meeting. If we could all meet over at the stairs back here to the south side, that'd be terrific. We got a little bit more business to take care of. All right, we're getting close. Again, I just want to thank Janet again for all the work that she put into this. I mean, it was a lot of work, and I really appreciate it. This would conclude the formal portion of our annual meeting. So now we get to the fun part, and this now will bring into the award ceremony part of our show. And we'll start with the Laurel Awards. And the Laurel Awards were instituted in 1999 and include 3 categories: artisanship, volunteerism, and horticulture. Any individual, organization, or company who has provided exceptional service to the Preservation Society or who has done exceptional work promoting quality of life in the local community, Newport, is eligible for consideration for these awards. The only exclusions are members of the Board of Trustees or the staff of the Preservation Society. Past Laurel Award recipients include Preletsy of, they always want to put a foreign one in there. This guy's from Boston, we can't pronounce these, but I'm going to try the Preletsy of Lyon and Paris. How did I do? No? All right. Mrs. Samuel Hamilton, Robert Bartlett, and Mrs. Robert Goddard. Much easier. So without further ado, I will like to call on, let's see, who's going to be the first award? Let's see. Geez, I'm sorry, it's so much. All right. Oh, first Laurel Award, I would like to invite Dale Venturini to present the next award. Thank you very much. All right.
I thought you forgot my name, Bill. In a few weeks, we're going to be having the 28th edition of what is one of my favorite events here at the Preservation Society, and that is the Newport Flower Show at Rosecliff. You know, Trudy, you mentioned about getting the best floral designers to be part of this show, and that this is going to be the most exceptional show with the designers. Well, I think I know why, because we also have, and recognizing, 2 volunteers that are going to give us the best judges for those floral designers. Way back in the 1990s, a group of dedicated volunteers came together to create the first flower show. And while it has evolved and grown into America's premier summer flower show, one thing has not changed. There would not be a flower show without the volunteers who give of their time and talent year over year. And tonight we honor 2 such volunteers, Jane Carey and Jane Gamber. For many years, the Janes, as they are called, have been invaluable supporters of the Newport Flower Show, dedicating their time and expertise to recruit and manage those phenomenal show judges from across the United States. As the floral design, horticulture, and botanical arts classes are designed for the show each year, Jane and Jane spearhead the process of identifying and inviting judges with specialized expertise in these areas. And this ensures that the show benefits from the insights and experience of the most qualified individuals. They also help with logistical details to ensure the smooth execution of the judging process. The quality and professionalism of judging is what builds a show's reputation and attracts the best entrants. The Newport Flower Show enjoys an excellent reputation, and thanks in no small part to the Janes. Their commitment and tireless effort behind the scenes are truly commendable, reflecting their passion for the flower show and their desire to uphold the highest standards. Also, the staff tells me that you both are a pleasure to work with. You are the definition of good-natured, fun, and professional. And the Newport Flower Show and the Preservation Society are fortunate to have you as such dedicated volunteers. So please join me in congratulating Jane Carey and Jane Gamber on receiving this year's Laurel Award for Volunteerism. Come on up. Do you want a photo over here?
Congratulations, ladies. Well-deserved, I'm sure. Next, I'd like to introduce Patrick Wood Prince to come to the podium. He is going to be presenting the Laurel Award for Horticulture. Patrick?
Chris, would you like to come up here and join me? Sure. There you are. It's been a while. Chris Fletcher has a lifelong passion for trees of New England. Raised in Bristol, Rhode Island, he spent much of his childhood with his father, a naturalist, visiting the woods of Mount Hope. These experiences made him acutely aware of the functional, cultural, and aesthetic qualities of forests. Chris followed his passion to earn a bachelor's degree in landscape design, gaining a comprehensive knowledge of the science and aesthetics of arboriculture. After graduation, Chris spent 12 years with the Rhode Island Department of Transportation, helping to protect tree populations during road construction projects. Since joining Bartlett Tree Experts in 1996, Chris applied his experience and scientific approach to helping clients, including the Preservation Society. He is a certified arborist with the International Society of Arboriculture and offers lectures on plants, diagnostics, landscape history, and cultural trends within the arboriculture industry. He is also entrusted with the care of Bristol's historic Juniper Hill Cemetery, where he helps preserve old specimen trees. For the past 28 years, Chris worked with Jeff Curtis on the Preservation Society, providing invaluable advice on fertilizing, mulching, and pest control. With the onset of beech leaf disease, caring for the older European beech trees on the Newport Mansions properties became the hardest part of working with the Preservation's Arboretum. However, working with Chris on these issues has been a pleasure because of his ability to work with people and especially to listen to people and find the solutions that work best for them. Unfortunately for us, Chris has now retired. His retirement is a loss for all who have worked with him. Please join me in congratulating Chris Fletcher on receiving this year's Laurel Award for Horticulture.
Thank you, Patrick, and congratulations. Mike. Next up, I'd like to introduce Hank Bell, Trustee Hank Bell, who is going to be presenting the Laurel Award for Artisanship.
Thank you, Bill. Jerry, are you here? Yep. Come on up. Jerry Campbell, his company Newport Windows Restoration, have done work for the Preservation Society since 2019. But his experience with local historical buildings goes back further. It was in the late 1980s when Jerry had established Campbell Painting, a successful local company, that he was asked by John Canahan of the Preservation Cooperative to oversee the interior and exterior reservation of the Vernon House on Clark Street, a National Historic Landmark. Part of the project was the restoration of the original windows. The results were so good that John urged Jerry to focus his business on window restoration, as the demand for the service was strong in Newport. So Jerry formed Newport Window Restoration and opened his shop downtown Newport. With Dennis Champion, Kyle Hathaway running the carpentry division, and Sergio Policigato, okay, and Juarez D'Souza heading the preparation and glazing and painting division, the company built a solid reputation for doing quality work. Many houses, churches, and public buildings in Newport now have fully functional, restored original windows courtesy of the Newport Window Restoration. In the winter of 2018, the Preservation Society Director of Properties, Mike Tabor, Mike, you're somewhere over there, and asked Jerry to bid on restoring windows and doors at the breakers. The work started in 2019, and other projects followed at the Marble House, the Elms, for a total of 482 windows restored at those three houses. The Preservation Society is grateful to have Newport Windows Restoration applying its applicable craftsmanship to many of our historic buildings with outstanding results. Please join me in congratulating Jerry Campbell.
On October 14th, 1957, the Preservation Society established an award to recognize an antiquarian who has made a major contribution to the Preservation Society's cause of historic preservation or to better the understanding of the decorative arts of colonial America. The Antiquarian Award is the highest honor that the Society bestows. In any given year, the Board of Trustees may identify a deserving candidate for this award. Past awardees include John Nicholas Brown, Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy, Doris Duke, and Harold Sterling Vanderbilt. Tonight, it is my honor to present the Antiquarian Award to Bernard Giewers. Well deserved. Bernie is a man of strong character, deeply held values, generosity, and profound conviction. He is a patriarch of the real estate development industry in Washington, D.C., and a philanthropist for an array of causes, including the Preservation Society of Newport County. He believes in the importance of family, hard work, and community involvement, and faith. With these guiding principles, Bernie strives to make this world a better place. Bernie and his late beloved wife of 59 years, Sarah, raised 3 children, Michael, Jonathan, and Stephen, who in time gave their parents 3 wonderful daughters-in-law and 6 grandchildren. As parents, Bernie and Sarah worked to ensure that their children would make wise decisions for their futures and their children's, for the communities in which they live, and for the interests that would inspire each of them. For more than 3 decades, Bernie and his family have been steadfast supporters of the Preservation Society, and Sarah even served on the board of trustees with me, and now their son Stephen is currently serving on the board of trustees. So it's really been a family affair. In 2003, Bernie and Sarah became sponsors of the annual golf outing, of which Bernie is now the honorary chair. Bernie's commitment to the Preservation Society has been unwavering. He was our rock during the years of controversy surrounding construction of the Welcome Center on the grounds of the Breakers, taking a resolute stand in support of the project and keeping us focused on quality and cost. He provided the judgment and wisdom to ensure we took the best courses of action. Bernie is devoted to philanthropy, giving to educational institutions, medical research, historic landmarks. In 1984, he and his wife established the Bernard and Sarah Giewers Foundation to guide his philanthropy. Bernie encourages family involvement, develops firsthand knowledge of the community, and operates with integrity, intelligence, and imagination. In 2019, Bernie established the Bernard and Sarah Giewers Endowment at the Preservation Society to ensure that we present a remarkable collection of house museums and landscapes and offer educational programming in support of its mission far into the future. In addition to Bernie's generous support for the Preservation Society, the foundation has supported the rehabilitation of Toro Synagogue and the Redwood Library in Newport, as well as many other worthy causes. Bernie made a major gift to Georgetown University Law Center to establish the 12-story Bernard and Sarah Giewers building that provides housing for more than 250 students. And at George Washington University, he and his family funded the Giewers Family Hillel House, which provides religious and social guidance to students. At the age of 97, Bernie, with his sons, continued the family business of developing, owning, and operating major office and apartment projects primarily in Washington, D.C. He is an innovator and a teacher for those who work with him and brings people of various needs together for their mutual benefit, taking pride in ensuring that all parties in the transaction are winners. Certainly, our relationship with Bernie has been a winner. The Board of Trustees of the Preservation Society of Newport County is pleased to award Bernie Giewers the Antiquarian Award, our most prestigious honor, given at the Elms in Newport, Rhode Island, this 13th day of June, 2024. Would you like to say anything? Thank you. I'd ask for a motion to conclude the annual meeting. Any seconds? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Didn't think so. Thank you very much.